All right. So thank you so much for joining the meeting today. This is the 2022 team captain meeting for Plain Pole, and we are going to go through some need to know information, day of event schedule and timeline, what to bring, and all the nitty gritty details. Feel free to speak up at any point with any questions. And ping me in the chat if there's something specific that you want addressed. So, last year we brought back the plane pole after a break off during the pandemic. Had a really successful year. We raised just about $75,000 and had 40 teams registered for the event. This year we are already at 60 teams registered, and we are about $1,000 away from surpassing last year's record. So we expect by the time that all is said and done with this event, we'll have crushed our previous fundraising record and set a new bar for the record books of this event. Wanted to talk just a little bit about Special Olympics. I know, some people are just in it for the competition or saw this event and decided to come and try it out. I want to just really drive home the fact that this is a huge opportunity to fundraise for the mission of Special Olympics Oregon. We are an organization that uses sports as a vehicle to transform the lives of folks with intellectual disabilities. So we're actually active year-round in 30 counties across the state. We work to build a unified generation, growing the culture of inclusion in classrooms, in workplaces, and in communities across the state. And all the services that we offer are free to our athletes. So we serve folks beginning at the age of 8 all the way through the end of their lives. It's a really great organization. I've come to really fall in love with it in the last 2 years that I've been here. And I love the fact that we get to use something as cool as pulling an airplane as the vehicle for making such a huge impact. So really want to say thank you to all of you for being a team captain, bringing others to this event, and helping us get to the place that we are today. So who's with me? We're going to raise $80,000 in fundraising this year. We are already creeping in on 60,000, and we'll get a ton more money coming in on the day of event. So anything that you can do to just encourage your team to share their fundraising link, share why they're participating this year, and help us get the word out is going to help us really get closer to this goal. So let's talk about the specifics. So if you didn't know, the event is this Saturday, September 10th. We are hosted by Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum in McMinnville. These folks are such amazing partners to us. They've donated this space. This will be the 8th year hosting the plane pole at Evergreen. They donate the space, the equipment, the labor, the expertise. It is such a huge contribution to have this event happen. And we couldn't be here today without them. We also couldn't be here today without the amazing volunteers who helped bring plane pole to Special Olympics Oregon and launch this event back in 2014. So Pam, I want to give you a really big shout out for still being here with your team and continuing to pull the airplane and helping us grow the event to the size that it is today. Quick rundown about the logistics. So the airplane weighs just under 40,000 pounds. It is a NASA Gulfstream II shuttle simulator. So you can see it here in the photo. It lives out in the back parking lot at Evergreen Museum. And the crew there this week is getting it all cleaned and shined up and greased up for us so that we can pull it across the tarmac all day. So the schedule of the event, we've got a timed 5K, 10K. There's an organization called the See You Later Foundation. Their event is called Champions Run for Heroes. It is taking place on campus with us at the same day. So we've partnered with them. that's going to be a really great race with like prizes and a kids run and all that stuff. Um, we're launching an all new solo competition called the Liftoff this year, which begins at 9 a.m. This is a kind of hybrid fitness event, similar to a strongman competition or a CrossFit challenge, whereas plane pole is like the team competition aspects. I would encourage you guys, we dropped the fundraising minimum for the liftoff to $50 instead of 200. So if there's anyone on your team that you think would be up for an individual challenge, we have currently 12 people registered right now for that event. And we'd love to have, 24 or 30 people signed up by the day of event. We are specifically looking for female competitors because we have about 4 signed up right now, and I'd love to have a really strong competition both in the male and female divisions. The winners of the 2 top winners, male and female of the liftoff, will earn their very own liftoff trophy, as well as a pair of Pit Viper sunglasses. For the plane pull, the team check-in is going to open at 10 a.m. So that's kind of right in the middle of when the liftoff is happening. If you're going to be getting there early to check in, I encourage you to, get your check-in materials, get your team kits. The liftoff is going to be happening just right outside of the event perimeter. So come over, check it out, cheer on the challengers. It should be really fun to watch. And then the plane pull itself will actually kick off at 11 a.m. So one thing that I want to make note of, for those of you that did the plane pull last year, we're doing the staging process a little bit differently because people felt like it was a little bit unclear who was next, and we had some flyby passes for our top fundraisers. The way that it's going to work this year is once you check in your team and get your registration supplies, you will have your team card, which will look similar to this one. This was mine from last year. It was just a laminated 8x10. Once you get this and check in, you can fill in your total fundraising amount. You can write a little something about why your team is participating. This is what the MC will use to kind of banter back and forth with the team captain as you guys come up to the pull zone, get ready to stage for your team photo, and then get ready to do your pull time. So once you have this completed, you can actually turn it into our volunteers at the stage, and they will go ahead and start getting you in queue for the plane pull competition. So I would suggest if you've got team members that have to, pull and leave before 12 or they have certain time constraints, I'd recommend come in, check in early, get your team in the queue at the stage, and then you don't have to wait in a specific line in order to pull. We will be announcing the next 3 to 5 teams that are in line to come over to the staging area and get ready. So this was going to allow more people to kind of check out the fun stuff that we've got going on. We've got axe throwing, we've got Breakside Brewery, we've got we have 8 food and drink vendors, tons of games and fun stuff to check out, and an amazing vendor village. So you want to make sure you and your team are encouraged to kind of walk around and check things out. Awards are loosely scheduled for about 2 p.m. We'll do our finals round. So the top 3 polling teams in our unified division, the elite division, and then the Conqueror division will all have a second kind of final poll. And then once we get so we'll start with unified, they'll come up, they'll all get their repoll, then we'll award the trophies first, second, and third, thank them all, and then they'll be kind of ushered out of the polling zone. Then we'll bring up the top 3 Conqueror teams. Same thing, they'll all get a chance to do a second poll, give the awards, exit the stage, and then we'll do the final division with the elite teams. We are not doing flyby passes this time. Folks will just, get in line as they enter. And our stage manager is kind of going to manage the flow of who came first and in the order that teams will pull in. They'll actually get entered into our timing and scoring form as they come up in place so that we can keep track of everything. If for some, whatever reason, if a team ends up being in the top 3 and they've had team members leave, they don't necessarily want to do a second qualifying poll, their initial time will stand and they would still be eligible to get first, second, or third place trophies. If everyone from the team is gone and they get a trophy, we will work with the team captain to get those out after the event. So it's highly encouraged to stay and have fun and cheer folks on, but not required. And then on site, we'll have live music from 3 to 5, all of our vendors, food trucks, Breakside Brewery, axe throwing. It's all going to be there on site till 5 p.m. So we encourage folks to stay around, enjoy the after party. We'll kind of continue to award raffle prizes throughout the evening until 5, when we will give away kind of our major package. Next, I want to talk about what to bring. This year looks hot. I think last time I checked, it's looking like it's going to be about 97 degrees. So definitely warm, and we are out there on the tarmac. So, it's on concrete with not a lot of trees or shade in the immediate area. I wanted to let folks know that if you want to bring a pop-up tent for your team, we will have space for spectating area, both inside the event perimeter and just outside the event barricade. So I'll kind of point that out in a couple slides when I touch on the site map. But shade structures, pop-up tents are encouraged. We will also have large tent space for food and drink for people to hang out. The other thing that I want to mention is that the museum, both the space and the aviation museum, are air conditioned. They have amazing exhibits. So while you're waiting to pull, I think it's $7.50 for entry into the museum, and it's definitely worth it. And it's a great place to cool off. If you don't want to pay for admission, there's also a cafe you can go in, order some soda, get an ice cold drink, whatever. But I'm also encouraging folks to bring a refillable hydration bottle. We will have iced cold water on site in drink tubs, as well as we've got body armor donated from Coca-Cola. We've got Celsius water from Hood to Coast, and those will all be kept on ice in our snack and food area. So the more that people can make sure their teams are prepared, the better. We don't want anyone, suffering from heat stroke or anything. We will have a medical team on site. We'll have a pop-up tent that says first aid. I'll be I'll be announcing that during the safety portion of the opening ceremony and pointing out where that is. But please, immediately, if you or anyone on your team is feeling any signs of heats or exhaustion, we recommend that you either get inside to the air conditioning or go see first aid as quickly as possible. For the competition, sturdy shoes are a huge deal. So we are on the blacktop. I would recommend wearing something that's got some traction on it, because when you're pulling the plane, I know I personally did a little slip sliding around last year. Unfortunately, it was raining, so that did not help. We shouldn't be expecting rain this year, but still bring something with some traction. As you can see in the picture, we encourage work gloves, something with some sort of grip on it. So either that kind of latex on the palm, or some of those work gloves that have like the little black dots all over them, so you get some traction on the rope. We'll cover rules and guidelines on one of the final slides, but I'll just mention it now as well. You can't use any sort of rope attachment. So, for powerlifting or whatnot, you can't use any Velcro. You can't strap yourself to the rope. You can't tie the rope in a knot or tie it around your body. You have to pull just like this picture shows. Other things we suggest, bring some sunscreen. We'll have limited supply there, but if you could encourage your teammates to bring sunscreen. And then any offline donations, if you have cash or check to bring, we can take those off your hands at registration and apply them towards your fundraising page. And then our Yamhill County local program is going to be doing a raffle on site. We've got pit vipers, we've got a bike, some various donation packages that have been donated to SOAR. So, bring a few bucks, some 5s or 10s for the raffle if you want to get involved in that. For parking, so when you come into Evergreen Museum, you're going to come in down here at the bottom through this pretty awesome like runway that leads up to the Space Museum. From there, we'll have signs that will direct folks to the right here. You're basically going to drive in front of the theater and in front of the Space Museum past all these planes that are staged in the grass. This is a gravel road, and it will take you all the way around the back of the Space Museum with the parking lot here. So we have basically the far right portion will be all parking. We've got some cadets from the Civil Air Patrol who will be helping with that. Should be ample space for everyone. But, for environmental reasons, if you're able to carpool with teammates, highly encourage that option as well. Wanted to point out this area here behind the Space Museum is where the liftoff will be happening. So we'll have the shuttle run, the lift, and the hard landing will be the first 3 challenges that'll take place over here in this concrete area. And then we'll move into the grass for the dogfight, which is where challengers are harnessed together with a bungee cord, and their goal is to get 3 weights over the goals on their side of the field while the competitor is trying to actively pull them backwards to their side of the field. So that'll be a fun thing people can gather around to watch over here once you're all checked in. For the site this year, we've spread out a bit more. The plane pole area is going to be over here to the right. So as you're coming out of the parking lot, you'll be directed over here on the bottom of our event barricade. There'll be law enforcement vehicles with flashing lights kind of directing the way to our entrance over here. 2 registration tents, so we'll have 2 lines to speed people through. I know some folks are probably expecting to have teammates come that are not currently registered in our Class E system. We will have some big A-frames with QR codes kind of leading up to this line area. It's really going to speed it up if anyone who's not already registered can use that QR code to sign up in Class E before they get to the tents. That has the necessary waivers that we need to have signed, and as well as we'll capture their information for the event so we can track attendance numbers. The key part of that being the waivers. We need to have everybody who's polling sign an event liability waiver. We also have, because of the liability of COVID, we've got a communicable disease waiver that's built into that as well. All they need to do is check a box and register, and they'll be good to go. As a team captain, when you register, you'll be given an envelope, which will contain your team card. It'll have a little bit more about the rules and guidelines of the event. And then for any team who's raised over $750 in fundraising, you'll also have 10 tickets in there that will be what you use to turn in to the merch store to claim your plane pole t-shirt. Any team that's not at $750 or more, we will be selling t-shirts on site right here, number 21. This will be our merch store. We'll have some plain pole hoodies, some shirts, some shaker bottles, just general SOAR merchandise you can buy. But those tickets will be available at registration in your team packet. And if you hit 750 in the morning of, after we've already printed off those lists and compiled those packets, just let us know at registration. We're happy to give you those shirt tickets at that point. Once you're in the event, you're going to notice our plane pole area is over here to the right. It will be barricaded off for safety. So all viewing and spectating and bleachers will be behind this barricade. A little bit different this year is our team staging will actually flow around behind the aircraft and enter in over here by our stage. This will help solve the problem of last year having spectators and teams all kind of mixed in together and having a really hard time with crowd control. When you hear your team name up for staging, you'll just come around to this area and line up to be ready for your turn. So over here is our team stage, our timing and scoring officials, as well as our scoreboard. We have a huge 15-foot by 10-foot scoreboard that'll be on the side of a box truck. That's where all of these, once you get your official score written on there, our volunteers will go and place it on the scoreboard. They'll be managing the flow of that as teams, either fall down or climb up in the competition. These are color coded. So one color's for unified, one color's for elite, and there's another color for Conqueror. So it should be pretty easy for people to see. The truck's going to be right in this area here. So you'll easily be able to check on your score and your standing from the viewing area. This VIP section, this is special for our teams who have raised $2,500 or more. We will have a tent already set up for you with tables and chairs, as well as lunch provided from Papa John's, which will be right here in this 15 bucks. I want to point out that we've got vendors, 4, 5, 6, and 7 over here. We've got Yamhill County Special Olympics. We've got B2 Community Care, Clackamas Federal Credit Union, and All About Smiles. And then over here, 17 to 19, we have a few more vendors. This is going to be Core Fitness PDX, Orange Theory Fitness, and Alliance Services. So I encourage folks to go check out those vendors. They're going to have some fun contests, games, giveaways, and stuff for you to check out. So check those out. This is going to be our Breakside Brewery beer and food tents. And 16 right here is going to be the Oregon Axe Throwing mobile trailer. They'll have their own waiver and stuff for people to participate in the axe throwing. The one thing that they said is nobody with open-toed shoes. So if you want to participate in axe throwing, you've got to have closed-toed shoes or else it's a no-go. Back here in this corner, this is our food truck rodeo. So we've got a really great selection of food. We'll have Kona Ice. We have a churro truck, Coco's Tacos, PJ's Pizza Wagon, Adam's Ribs, Bow and Vine Burger Bar, and Bubbles and Treats, which is a non-alcoholic gourmet soda truck, which will be really cool. So that is the site map. We'll also have maps and directional arrows spaced throughout the events, directing people where to go. So that's that. I want to talk really quick about the differences between the teams since I have had some questions about it. The elite team category. This category or division is capped at 6 polars. So you can compete in this or the Conqueror division. The only difference is that it's going to be a matter of how many polars you have on team. This is strictly enforced. So any more than 6 polars, even if you're signed up as an elite team, you will be counted in the Conqueror team division. For the Conqueror team division, Doesn't have to be 10 pollers. You can have 7, you can have 8, you can have 9, you can have 10. Anything more than 6 is going to be counted as a Conqueror team division. For our law enforcement folks who have a torchbearer team, you're going to be plugged into one of these 2 categories, depending on how many pollers you have for the events. And all law enforcement teams will still be in the running to earn the top torchbearer trophy. Dean, I see you have a question.
Yes, I do. As you were going through the vendors, Team Red, White, and Blue also has we're going to bring a vendor tent.
Oh, shoot.
And
yes.
So, it's a 10 by 10 or 10 by 12 or something like that. So anywhere really.
Yes, sorry, I didn't use the most updated one. Hood to Coast hadn't heard back from you when they made this map, but I've got you guys plugged in right here with 17, 18, and 19. So okay. You've got really great viewing spot for the competition.
Great. And the other question I had, we had a 10-person team set up. It appears that we've only got 6. So we could actually compete in the elite with Rosie's team. Does that need to happen at check-in, or do we have to do that ahead of time?
I'm just going to make a note of that now. So I'll put both of the Team Red, White, and Blue in the elite division. And I'll go ahead and get you the right card printed so that everything's ready to go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. So that covers these. And then the other division we have is our unified division. That, similar to the Conqueror team division, is up to 10 pollers on the team. The difference between unified and Conqueror is that unified includes athletes and unified partners. So we've got some great representation from some of our unified champion schools. Brennan on the call with South Salem High School. This will be their 2nd year doing the plane pole. Then we've also got a couple community organizations, B2 Community Care, and I'm spacing on one right now, but we've got a good, I think 5 or 6 unified teams competing in that division, which is going to be really cool. Oh, that's the other one. SOAR Yamhill County is bringing Team Inspire out to participate. So quick rundown of the rules. Each person must sign a waiver at check-in to participate. So even folks who are not necessarily on a team, but want to try to jump in and be an extra pair of hands, we need to have everybody sign a waiver at check-in. As I said earlier, there's no attachments allowed to the rope. So no Velcro. The rope cannot be knotted around itself or tied to any poller. You can see here in the picture that this gentleman is pulling, facing away from the aircraft with the rope over the shoulder. I've seen teams do that before. There's no rule against it. I don't know that, depending on your strategy, if it's the best move or not. But as long as that is not tied around the anchor person, that is an acceptable way to pull. As you're waiting for the signal from the competition officials, you may remove slack from the rope to get it taut, but you cannot begin pulling until the start signal has happened. The signal to begin is going to be a verbal ready set by our officials, and then the sounding of an air horn or a whistle. That is your cue to start pulling. Once the plane has completed the required 50 feet distance, an air horn will sound again to signal the end of the poll, and the timing officials will stop the stopwatch for your official time. If there's any misstart, like if a team starts pulling before the whistle and it's declared a misstart by the officials, we will reset the plane and give them another opportunity. A second misstart will result in disqualification of the team. If any poller on your team slips or falls during the competition and can't quickly jump up and resume, they should immediately roll away from the rope and out of the active pull zone so that they don't trip up any more team members or have a safety issue being in the path of the moving airplane. The other reason we have the barricade is because those wings extend pretty far out from the plane, and we can't have anyone in that zone that could, be unaware and have a plane wing coming at them from behind. Do we have any questions about any of this so far?
Yeah, just one real quick question. You say that each person must sign a waiver at check-in. If they've registered on Class C, does that count as that waiver?
If they've registered through Class C, our waivers are built in, and it was just that checkbox that people signed during registration. I know for some of our law enforcement teams, they've got a team signed up and they've got the money raised. It might just be one person signed up right now, knowing that they're going to bring the other, 5 or 9 with them on the day of events. So we just need to have anybody showing up who's not currently in Class E sign the waiver. If people don't know or don't remember if they signed up or not, you can check at registration. We can easily look you up in Class E. If you're not there, we'll just have you sign a waiver, get your wristband at that moment. Everybody polling will be required to have a wristband, which means we've visually seen you come through registration. We checked your waiver or had you sign a waiver and gave you a wristband put on at the registration. So our officials will be checking for those wristbands as teams come into the polling zone. We also have an additional rule. Competitors are only allowed to pull on one team. So if you're on, team red, white, and blue 1, we wouldn't want you pulling on team red, white, and blue 2 as well. So that's the quick rundown of plane pull in a nutshell. So everyone's
Scott, I have a
ready.
quick question.
Yeah.
Is there at minimum a time that the team has to be registered by? I know registration starts at 10 and the poll is at 11. Is there you have to register your team at the event by X time?
So because we have awards and finals slated for about 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we will be closing down the competition registration around 2. So if all the scores are tallied and we start finals, that's kind of the cutoff for new teams to come in and enter the competition. That's not to say that we couldn't have you take a picture and get a photo pulling the airplane after the competition. If everyone signed a waiver, you just wouldn't really be in the running for those trophies.
Perfect. I just was curious if they signed up at noon versus 11. Does that miss it, or that would still be fine technically?
Yeah, that would be fine. I think, the hard cutoff is going to be 2 p.m. We won't go into any of the finals until after 2 p.m. And then someone asked about the fundraising minimum. So $400 is the team minimum to fundraise. There's no individual fundraising requirement, though we do encourage everyone to share their fundraising link and try to do some fundraising. But teams just need to hit that $400 by the time that they check in. So folks can bring $400 and sign up that day of event. They can write a check. They can bring cash and donations that they've collected. But that's kind of the barrier for entry, if you will. And if you have any questions, you should all have my email. My cell phone is there as well. I'm pretty much going to be out of the office from 1 p.m. today through the events, getting trucks loaded, picking up stuff and all that. I do have my phone on me. I'll be checking email to the best of my ability, but if there's something urgent, send me a text. Otherwise, we can handle any, customer service issues, changes, anything that needs to happen for your team. We'll get you taken care of at the event. So don't stress about it. Come, show up, have a good time, be prepared for weather, hot weather, and just want to again say thank you so much for being part of this year, whether it's your 8th plane pull or your first plane pull. I can't wait to see you out on the tarmac.
Scott, I had
Thank you.
Scott, I had a question if it's okay.
Yeah.
One, what is the cutoff time for the donations to be counted for the fundraising part of the competition?
So when we do the awards on site, we will do a final tally. So if donations have continued to come in throughout the competition, I always suggest once you get your team photo and you've pulled the plane, share that on social media, share your link, share your goal, do final pushes. 2 p.m. is going to be the cutoff to award the top individual and the top team fundraising trophies.
Okay. And will the information as far as the general information about how to prepare, is that automatically sent to the participants, or do we need to bring that to them?
How to prepare for the competition?
Right, for the plane pull, some of the information you shared on some of these slides, is that sent out to our teams automatically?
I'm going to send everyone on this call. I'm going to send every team captain the link to this YouTube video, as well as just a real high level. Here's what to bring. Here's the rules. We'll go through this. But I encourage you, since, not everybody receives email or checks their email, help us disseminate this information to your teams. Make sure that they've seen it. Would be very helpful.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Scott.